My name is Chukka Srinivas. I am working with data management unit, and my work is to gather the research data and keep in a common place where all the research data can be stored, aggregated, and ready for the visualization and for sharing and further monitoring and evaluation. Everybody knows that the research gives the output, and output may be in terms of the numerics, maybe in terms of the research papers, or maybe images, maybe the video clippings, maybe the success stories. So all the earlier in olden days, so scientists go to the field, they collect the field data in the books and paper-based books, and they keep with them. Later point of time, with the advancement of the technologies, they used MS Excel to store their data, and they're keeping in their laptops. But they're not sharing because there is no opportunity to share their data. Physical books, they can give the book, but they're not sure whether they can get the book back to them. The similar way, they are storing their data in Excel sheets, either they are keeping in their laptops or maybe in the hard disks. But there is a great need to share their data to the others so that other people can know what they are doing and how other people can use their data for further research advancement. But without sharing, the same research work can be done by other people, which is in terms of waste of money and their time. So there is a great need of data to be open to the public. But many of the times, scientists feel that maybe the data generator, they feel that that is their own data. But the project funding is from the public fund. Especially in ICRISAT, we do the research with the public fund. So when we use our research and what are the output coming out of my research, that should be open to the public because I am using the public fund to all the researchers. So there is a great demand. When you use this research, whatever the research output should be reused. Otherwise, the value addition to their research work may be less. If it reaches to the global scientific community so that everybody can see the research work, they get the appreciation, they get the citations, and whatever the research work he has done, the scientist has done, that's open to the public so that any other interested scientific community can continue their research work. If you see at ICRISAT point of view, ICRISAT almost 40 years of research experience we have, and we produce a lot of data. If you consider 40 years of research work, so many crops, so many varieties, and so many scientists, they are working. Earlier, everybody storing their data in hard copies, then Excel sheets. Now, this is the time we can store all the data in a common repository where all the research work outputs, especially specific to the numeric figures or what are the attributes, values, will be stored in a common repository, common place, with the integration between different crop research output, maybe the socio-economic data, or maybe the breeding trial data, or maybe other data. So if we can have all the data in common one place, so that at a single point, with a fraction of seconds or maybe with a few seconds, we can generate reports, we can share the reports without outer side. Maybe simple email with the link of your research result can be reached to thousands of people in a short period of time. But when we look at this integration, we need to see the standard protocols. If I am the scientist, I do my research work and I store my data in my own way, which other scientists cannot understand. Maybe I store the start date in a different format. st_dt. If I save it, other people cannot understand whether it is start date or some other date. So there should be a common standard so that all the research output are data sets in a uniform format that helps to integrate easily and manage easily. If you look at the open access to data and the challenges, open data is not a simple task. There are a lot of challenges. One thing is no ready-made data dictionary available. So that is very much important when we keep the data into a common place and open to public. And when you look at the technology side, if I am the technical people and you are the scientist, when you tell your requirement, your needs to me, I cannot understand because I think in terms of my technical coding, either Java or .NET or whatever it is. But you are the real user. The technical guy, the technical people should understand what the scientist need is. Without understanding, they do something and they develop one product which may not be useful to the scientist. So there should be a common understanding what are the scientist is telling his requirement. The technical guy should understand so that we can get a correct product or correct platform or application what we need. So there is a gap. And the cultural shift is a major challenge with respect to the data sharing. Still, right now, many of the scientists or the data generators, they feel that the data is their own, even though they are working with the public fund, because they keep their data with them. If you ask for your research purpose, they may not be ready to give the data because they feel in different way, because they feel that is their own data. So we need to change our mindset. And even when I ask the scientists to share their data, to keep their data in a common repository, they are not much interested. Very, very few scientists. But still, we need to change their mindset by giving the training of so many things. If you look at the bottom four words, recognition. If the scientist can get the recognition, he is ready to give or share their data set. Without recognition, he may not be that much interest. And by force, if we have the policy, if the institute has a policy for the data sharing and roles and responsibility, the scientist or data manager, maybe the PI, maybe the institute. If everything defined, if you have the policy, then the scientist should keep their data set in a repository for open access. And some of the scientists, by their own interest, they are approaching us, they are giving the data, and we are helping them to share their data, keep in a open repositories. And incentives. What the scientist will get benefit out of the data sharing. So if the scientist or the research staff can get kind of incentives, maybe in terms of the recognition, maybe in terms of the promotion, maybe in terms of the ratings, then they may be interested into this kind of open access. So when you look at the ICRISAT institute level initiatives towards the open access to data. Earlier in 2009 we started the open access policy. We have the policy, and based on that we developed data repositories, and after that we developed and started the data management platform where the scientists can keep their data and share their data. And recently our management agreed to adopt the open data policy. So all these policy interventions are required for effective data sharing and openness. So maybe in the morning session you might have seen that Explore It and OER and so many open data repositories we have in our institute. So these are the few open repositories. If you can see this, and we have the open repository for research publications, separate repositories, and we have a separate repository for data sets, and we have separate repository for multimedia, maybe that is pictures and video clippings, success stories. And we have, you might have seen in the morning what the Explore, and in the first day itself we have seen the open access, open education resources. And when it comes to the open data, so we have a repository called Dataverse. In the morning, Mr. Madan has given a kind of briefing about this. So this is completely, this Dataverse software has been developed by Harvard University, and we use that and we install in our ICRISAT servers. Now we have this repository, and scientists are encouraged to use this repository to publish their data, share their data. So right now, till now we have 6 databases and 54 studies and around 500 files. We'll see, how it looks like and how we can use it for data sharing and all. This purely open source. Anybody can download. Maybe you can start your database into your universities or institutes, because the beautiful one beauty of this database is this is an interoperable repository. Isn't that ICRISAT has own database, and your institute has your own database, and some other research organization has their own database. But interoperability, these 3 databases can talk each other, so that from one database to another database, we can easily get the data sets. And another initiative is we have socio-economic survey data warehouse. So this we call it the VDSA data warehouse. So earlier, almost all 30 years of socio-economic survey data was captured and they saved into Excel sheets. If any of the policymaker wants any report, all these data collector and data manager of respective projects have to sit together for months together to generate the report what the policymaker is asking. But now, with this help of the VDSA data warehouse, within minutes, the policymaker directly can access this and they can generate the report whatever they want instead of asking the respective scientist to give the report. So because of this, the project people, they are spending their valuable time for other projects rather than generating the reports whatever the users are asking. So we have beautiful data warehouse servers where the Excel sheets, what are the survey data from the Excel sheets we converted and we are keeping in a relational database. That's one repository. So for this we used Microsoft Business Intelligence tool. Based on with the tool we have developed this tool, warehouse system. And on the first day we have seen Aware from Jim Pollack has given a briefing about the Aware platform. So this is the cloud-based data visualization and sharing tool. We don't need to bother about the installation of the server and software into our institute servers. We can use their space. We can use the Aware incorporation workspace. That's called with cloud. Okay, so we can upload our data sets, and the tool itself tackle how to integrate different data sets. Maybe you can upload your socio-economic farmer survey, maybe extension survey, and we can upload our trial data sets, maybe breeding data sets. Based on the location, it recognizes and integrates whether it is breeding data, whether it is socio-economic data, or extension data, whatever may be the data. So based on the location, time, it stored in a relational database, then it gives a beautiful visualization, and you can share whatever you analyze with a URL. So we'll see how it works. And more beautiful, one of the advantages is whatever the data you are uploading with a lat longs, with a geolat longs, then that can be integrated with a Google map. Daily we are using Google map to see the locations and so many other things. The same Google map can be used to overlay our GS layers or maybe the point where the location is. And apart from this commercial and open source tool, we are developing few tools depending upon the requirement of specific scientific community or maybe specific project. So we have developed this for climate, one of the climate projects. Okay, so we'll see. We have the website and we'll see online. So this is for information dissemination, and as well as you can use this for your information dissemination as well as the data sharing. And another tool we have, we developed for breeders to keep and preserve their, store their trial data. And we have developed another tool for the breeding people, so that they can, using this tool, they can store their data sets, they can analyze the data sets, they can generate a report, say either in tables or charts, or maybe the same thing, Google Map can be integrated so that wherever they do their trials, they can see in the Google Map. And this is another tool where we can generate the charts and we can overlay temperature or the yield, so that we can see what is the impact of the temperature for the yield gaps, something like that. And another tool we have not developed, we have used the open source tool that's called ODK, Open Data Kit. Why we are using this is, when we go to the field, you observe the pyramid, note all the parameters into your field book. Then you are coming back to your workplace and you are entering into Excel sheets. Okay, so another scientist is going to another field and they do the same. So, but when we enter into Excel sheets, your Excel sheet is different, another person's Excel sheet is different, but there is no integration. If I want to compare two different areas, maybe same crop, if we do the trials in two different areas, so I need to compare same variety, which location is suitable. Okay, for that you need to do a lot of things in the Excel sheet to generate that kind of simple analytical report. But using this open data kit, people go with the mobiles or tablets. We have the online form. They collect the observations and we can capture the pictures of the either farmer, maybe the crop, or maybe the flower, maybe the plant height, and we can collect the latitude, longitude information, and we can simply submit. Then all the data will be stored into on server. Maybe for that you can install your own server with commercial software database. Otherwise, if you have your Google account, even you can do that. So no need to spend even ₹1 for this purpose. If you have any mobile piece, so you can install on that, maybe tablet. So in future, in the next few months or few days or few weeks, we may implement the data management policy in our institute so that everything will be streamlined. So we can, by force, we can get the data. And we are planning to develop one platform for all the data management needs. Maybe scientists, breeders, they have their own data repositories. Maybe social science people, they have their own repository. But if we'll have a platform where all the scientists or maybe the users can see only one page, so that they can go from that to the respective repositories or tools. So now we'll see the in-house tools in next 5 minutes. So this is the tool where you can, this is just kind of, we are showing only demo data, not the real data. Okay. So first I'll select the crop. Maybe I'll select the PGNP. Then in next filter, I'll choose the year. So for this moment, we have only one season data. And we'll see the locations, we'll select the locations. Then just click the report, just select what are the parameters you want. Now we have, if you look at this, we have the farmer name. This is the demo sample data, not a real data. Okay, so maybe you can keep the columns here, whatever you want, maybe whatever you have the attributes. Okay, so this is a kind of small survey, and farmer then in their field what are the grain yield and fodder yield for a pigeon pea. Assume that this is not the right data and not the right attribute specific to the crop. Okay, so you can sort the order. You want, if you want to see what is the maximum grain yield, just click that. It will be sorted out ascending and descending. The same way to this, and I'm running this again to see the statistics. If I click the statistics, it gives the basic statistics. Okay, but this is not the replacement of any statistical tool like SPSS, SCS. Just give this briefing of what are the attributes you have. So it gives the max yield, min yield, and mean, standard deviation and all. Okay. Apart from this, for the same data, if you want to see the attribute information in a graphical way, so you can have this. Right now, this is only the checked one. Okay, if you want to see the same thing in line chart, just click that. You'll get another report. If you don't want, deselect it. The same way, I'll show you the J view with the Google Map view, because it's taking much time to connect to the Google Map. Parallel, I'm showing the another tool where the people, scientists can upload their data and they can see their own data in a same format what they have earlier. Assume that this is the trial data what the scientists have with them. This is the Excel sheet. And the similar kind of, see there's two tabs. One is, first tab is a description for the metadata, and second tab is the real data. Okay. Now the scientists can see the same data online wherever they go, whenever they want, they can see this. If you want the real data, they click that and they see the real data. This is another tool what I told you about the climate change model. So we have the locations for a specific project. They conducted few experiments in these areas. So this tool is giving the location of the particular area. If I click this, I'll get one pop-up window where I can store all the information which I want to share with the users. So I connected with kind of URL. Similar way, you can keep a number of URLs you want to share with the scientist. The similar way, it disconnect to the YouTube where you can show your success stories. The same way, you can give the link to your pictures, project pictures, and so on. And we'll see other tool what we discussed just now, the database. See, we'll see how the database works and what the benefit the scientist can get out of this. This is the database. Even if you install, you'll have the similar kind of setup. Scientists can directly upload to this repository without asking anybody. And you can search based on what are the parameters you have. Maybe you can search the data sets based on the crop, based on the location, based on scientist, the way you want. I log in with my ID. So now I'm selecting the disease data. If you see, this is the citation where the scientist name or the data generator name we can keep here. See the other details. And there is another tab, data analysis. You can do some kind of statistical analysis here, and I can download the whole data sets and I can do further experiment on that. I can download the same data set, whatever the scientist uploaded. I can save, download into tab limited file, maybe other statistical software enabled formats. Even if I click this tabular data, just kind of policy agreement. See, these are all the attributes I have. And for that particular attribute, you can have summary. So what are the data sets we upload? Maybe simple Excel sheet if you upload as a data set, this tool can give this kind of information. And you can download the Excel sheet into R support or Stata support. And a lot of things you can do. So this is a open source tool, and you can do the advanced statistical analysis. See, these many of statistical analysis one can do using this database. Yes, these are all few initiatives or experiences from our side. Yes. Kind of limited analysis, but if you want a complete statistical analysis, next session is given by Dr. Abhishek Rathod. So, see, this is not a complete replacement of any statistical software. See, there is embargo period. After generation of the data, you may keep 2 years or 1 year or 6 months, depending upon the policy or procedures of your specific institute. Okay, so then you can open your data after certain period, maybe after publishing your paper, you can open your data. That's up to you and your institute and the policies. That is the agreement between the scientists. Yeah, so for that, yes, for that we can keep uploading the data in the repository, and you can upload the data, but don't open to anybody. Only you as a user, as uploader, can see your data. Once you feel that, now you can open, then change the option from restriction to open. It's simple. None. I mean, whoever upload that as a user of this database, as a scientist, you have that options to open or restrict it. Yes, sir.
See, you are allowing scientists or users to upload spreadsheets
Yes.
into your system, right?
Yeah.
Now, spreadsheet can be in Excel or OpenOffice or any format.
Yes. Even PDF, Word document you can upload.
Yeah, but
sometimes you publish one research paper and you can upload into database, and supporting raw data files or maybe some kind of data sets to support your research work published one. So you can use this tool for that kind of.
My question was little different. See, Government of India has defined standard called open data format. So are you following that kind of standard open data format?
That is a different story altogether, but what are the data sets specific to the scientist? If the scientist is comfortable with certain kind of format, they can upload, and they can do this kind of repository where they can store, backup and archiving as well as the sharing purpose. Maybe if the government of India has certain rules to use certain formats, if the project is funded by government of India, maybe for that particular scenario, maybe they have to follow the standards and policies.
Through your system, you can inform people to follow that format because it will help to have better interoperability in future.
Yeah, that there in our policy and guideline documents. We are suggesting the scientists to use certain, but we are not restricting the scientists to use this format only, but we are suggesting. Yes.
You mentioned sometime during your presentation capacity building programs that actually trying to implement to raise awareness about data sharing.
Yes.
But I guess behind that you have done maybe some survey to know what are the arguments that scientists doesn't want to upload or maybe share their data to be able to build those capacity building programs. Can you maybe share some of those arguments why scientists don't want to upload their data on that and then make it open access?
See, in that scenarios, if the institute has a policy for this data sharing and data management, so the scientist has to obey the policies. Otherwise, if there is no policy, it is up to the institute and the management or project PI or maybe the respective scientist. But we need to educate the scientist the benefits of the data sharing. So if the scientist is convinced, then that's very good. Maybe there are a lot of things. See, as we mentioned, if somebody, before he publish his papers, if somebody use the data and publish, then what about his whole effort? Yeah. Yeah, that is the reason there is another option to restrict the sharing. So once we are comfortable, then you can open the data. Till that point of time, you can restrict. Even if I don't log in with my ID, I cannot even download that file. But as a user, I logged in, so the system will recognize that I am the user, I am the uploader, then it's allowing me to download. Otherwise, you cannot even download the data. Just you can see what metadata, what the data set name, that kind of information I can see as a general user, generic user.
You mentioned also about incentives, for the scientists, to make the data available. What could be maybe a good and then really appealing incentive, that maybe you can advise colleagues, so that maybe next time they will make their data available.
Okay, so if you contribute to this data repositories of whether it is institutional or other repositories, if you contribute, your contribution should be recognized. In what way? So in your ratings or appraisals, year-end appraisals, maybe for the promotions, the policy should recognize the scientist's contribution towards the openness. So maybe if you contribute more data, then you may get recognized better than the other scientists. Maybe instead of 5% increment, you will get 10%.
But I'm sure that will not advance your CV.
And those who don't generate it?
What?
Those who only do analysis of it?
That depends on the policy of the
You and me?